My dear friends, we have come to the conclusion of the liturgical calendar of the year 2019. It was a wonderful year for all of us and for the parish. It was a time of excitement and planning and meetings for the future projects, and now we can see the fruits. So another year of waiting, and all of this will come true. So we are so blessed as a parish as we continue to grow. Now, what is the meaning of the kingship of Jesus? To answer that, let me begin by asking you, how many of you remember the American classic song that says, "You are nobody unless somebody loves you"? Oh, everybody remembers, yeah. It was made popular by almost every major star like Frank Sinatra, Perry Como, Dean Martin, and almost Elvis sang that song. Now, it is an interesting line. You are nobody unless somebody loves you. So how does that happen? How can a person be somebody? Because someone dares to love that person. So we will answer that question, because that will lead us to a deeper understanding of the feast today of the kingship of Jesus. So let's begin with the word king. Okay, king. When you hear the word king and you picture human kings, look at how they look, where they stay, where they live. They live in palaces and mansions, not one but multiple. They are good looking, prominent, with the robes and their crowns made of precious stones and metals. And then they have scepters and tons of military power, that in one command will follow the executive order of the king. Then he has lands and territories that he controls. Many of these kings, they look very prominent. But the question is, what's the situation of their subjects? How are their subjects? Many of these kings are self-centered. They just want the prestige and the attention to themselves. But look at their people whom they should serve. Many of them are in the slums and poor and starving in the ghettos. The people they should serve. The king is wealthy, but the people are nobody, because the king is just thinking of himself. The people remain poor, insignificant, nobody, because the king doesn't really care for them. He just cares for himself. These are not true kings. They are self-centered, arrogant, selfish people who are taking advantage of innocent people. This is not true kingship, because they don't love their people, and their people remain obscure and poor. Who is the true king? That is the true king. He has no crown of precious stones and metals. It's made of thorns, it's bleeding. He has no mansion and palace. He has no robes. He has no armies. But this king was the only one who gave up his life for his people so that his people will live. This is the king, the only one that out of his poverty and nothingness, he gave up his life for his subjects so that his subjects will have dignity, so that they will be somebody, that love made us whole, that love gave us access to God, to the death of the Lamb that was slain. This is the only true king. All those human kings have come and gone. They're all forgotten. They're all forgotten. This is the only one that prevailed because he is the true king. You are nobody unless somebody loves you. He loved us to the point of hurt. He loved us to the point of death that made us important, that made us precious. God loved the world so much, He gave Jesus to us. That is why He is the only true prevailing King. Okay, the entire year of the calendar of the church, the kingship of Jesus, the entire year of liturgy and worship is patterned after the life of Jesus. We, His followers, the entire year of our prayer and worship is a walk with Jesus. We walk with Jesus for the whole year. If you look at the overview of the festivals and seasons of the year, you will see that it's about Jesus. It's about His life, inviting us to participate in His life so that we will become better people and closer to God. So look at the entire calendar of the church. You know, the whole year of liturgy begins with Advent. That is next Sunday. What is Advent? Advent is God is making a promise that in the midst of darkness and human struggle, God will bring us light. And so how do we respond to that? We expect and wait. That's the meaning of the wreath and the candles lighted every week. We wait that one day God will fulfill His promise because He is a faithful God. That is what Advent is. So, that will begin next Sunday, beginning of the season. And then, Christmas is the fulfillment of that promise. When, after our waiting, God came to us as a baby, as a light to the world, to grant us peace and to invite humanity again who will have access to God. That is the meaning of the Nativity. You know, the entire universe invited to visit the baby. God having access to everybody. That's Christmas. Then, after that season, you will see dramatic transition of the climate. The earth and the moon and the sun will align. Within 40 days, the earth will experience dramatic transition from the cold and the dark of winter to spring. You will see everything waking up. You will see everything, the flowers and the the leaves, the earth waking up. So what is Lent? 40 days. Transition from death to life. That is Lent. Earth is waking up from death to life. This life will reach its peak after 40 days at Easter, when the world is alive again. God giving the earth another chance. Life in full swing, Easter. And then 5 weeks of these Sundays of Easter, finally the ascension of the Lord, and then 50 days after Pentecost, the coming of the Holy Spirit, proclamation of the church to the world. And then Sundays again of the ordinary time, and then it will close again up to 33, and then Advent again. So the entire cycle of the year is about Jesus, our King. We are walking with Jesus because He will guide us. He's the one who has given us inspiration. Jesus made life meaningful. Because of His life, the inspiration, the blessings, and all the celebrations and the joys of liturgy are all because of Jesus, our King. Now, question. Question. Every year we do this. It's a very important question to look into ourselves. Every year we walk with Jesus. Probably 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years, 90. Are we making a connection? Is it really happening in us? Our walk with Jesus every year, is it making us more like Him? Is our faith really deepened by that experience of worship and liturgy? Have we become more brave, more trusting in God? Because every year we walk side by side with Jesus. Is there a transformation going on in our lives, that we have matured in our faith? Are we connecting every year? Has this entire calendar of the church made us holier every year? Because that's the purpose of liturgy. That is the goal of liturgy. It's not an obligation to go to church and like punch in, punch out in an office. No, it is a relationship with the King of the universe. Is that relationship getting more intense? Is faith powerful enough that we can trust in God? So when we face trials like illness and all kinds of struggles in life, we are strong because the King is walking with us. Is it happening? Good question to ask. You answer that.